I've always lived my life as a very independent person, doing things for myself, by myself. And I think this goes back to when I was 8 years old. My mom used to walk me to school every day. It was about 5 blocks from my home. But then she had my brother, and things changed. And I said, wow, this is my opportunity for independence. And I pleaded with my parents to let me go to school by myself. Well, we had a discussion, and I was a pretty responsible kid, so they felt that I could probably do it. What I didn't know was the first week that I went on my own, my father was behind me, making sure that I was doing the right thing and that I was safe. He must have been satisfied because I was allowed to go to school on my own for the rest of the year, and for the rest of the time I was in elementary school. So it's not surprising when later in life I needed total hip replacements on both the right and left hip. I took myself to the hospital both times. I never thought of doing it a different way. And then as I got older and my mobility became a little more challenged, I went from a cane to a rollator. A rollator is just a fancy name for a walker. It has 4 wheels with more stability. It has hand brakes. It has a seat to sit on in case I got tired. And it has a basket underneath to hold things in. This walker became my constant companion. So I felt I really needed a name for it. And so it became Alice Walker. And Alice and I used to walk up and down Broadway on the Upper West Side of New York. We would do what we wanted to do. We would go where we wanted to go. We were totally independent, and I was loving my life. But then, on September 20th, 2014, things changed. I went to the podiatrist, someone I go to every 5 weeks because I've got terrible feet. And usually when I leave him, I'm feeling a lot better because he takes care of all corns and calluses, cuts my nails, he does all these things. But this time when I left his office, I was still in pain. I noticed that my left foot was dragging. And as much as I tried to walk faster, I was in snail mode. So I realized something was wrong. I took myself to the urgent care center near my home. And after examining me, the doctor said, you have to go to the ER at New York Presbyterian Hospital for an MRI. And the MRI confirmed that I had had a stroke. So I was admitted to the stroke unit at the hospital, and I was there for the next 5 days. It wasn't long before I encountered 2 of the most dreaded symbols of total dependence, the call button and the bedpan. The first time I rang the call button when I needed nature was calling. It took so long for someone to respond that I figured they were coming from a galaxy far, far away. And when the bedpan came, I said, whoever designed this knew nothing about human anatomy. And if there's anything worse than waiting for a bedpan, it's waiting and waiting and waiting for someone to take it away. At the end of the 5 days, I still couldn't walk. So the social worker suggested that I go to Amsterdam House, which is a rehab place right across from St. John the Divine Cathedral. It couldn't have been a better choice. I got occupational therapy and physical therapy on a daily basis, and most of the times even on the weekends. I got all the help I needed, but I was always encouraged at every step to try to do as much as I could for myself. So I went from a wheelchair to Alice, and my first big breakthrough was when Alice and I went to the bathroom by ourselves. Can you imagine, at the age of 80, I actually was able to go to the bathroom by myself. What an accomplishment. From there, we walked unaccompanied to the dining room back and forth 3 times each day. But the big triumph was when I got on the elevator on the 11th floor, went down to the first floor, and took myself over to the snack machine, where I satisfied my craving for potato chips and cookies. And Alice and I became very good friends with that snack machine over the next couple of weeks. The beginning of January, it was decided that I was well enough to continue my recovery at home. I would be getting OT and PT on an outpatient basis, and I was ready. When I got off the elevator in my home, the first thing I saw was an arc of balloons around my door welcoming me home. Can you imagine how that made me feel? That was just the beginning. When I opened the door, this 40-year-old carpet that was disintegrating before my eyes was gone. The floor was absolutely clean. Furniture that had been in the way and would have made it impossible for me to move around the apartment easily was gone. My refrigerator was restocked. The new mattress I had ordered was set up and ready for me to lay down as soon as I was tired. And in general, I looked around the apartment and I said, wow, is this where I'm living? And every day in the 2 weeks that I've been home, someone has come in to continue to make improvements to my apartment. My guardian angel, Jennifer, comes in every day. And so far, the two of us have filled up 3 huge garbage bags with stuff. Things I didn't even know I had. Things I know I had and I didn't want. And anyone now who walks into my apartment says, wow, it looks so much bigger. It's not. It's a small studio, but it is not as cluttered as it was before. So I started to think about my journey over the past 3 months. And I said, you know what? Getting help is really not that bad. Independence is a state of mind. And instead of diminishing me, it empowers me to return to the life I led BTS, before the stroke. So I now think of myself as a very independent person with benefits.